right, welcome once more to the sixth episode of the GDE show. I have to confess today I am scared because Andreu has been wanting to do this now for a while, and I don't know if I'm comfortable with this, Andreu. You're gonna be interviewing me this week from Lleida. Andreu, how are you?
Well, thank you for asking. So you don't have to be in a panic mode still.
I am though. I am. Okay. I mean, the good thing is that for our viewers that don't know, I am the one controlling the streaming. So if I don't like the questions and suddenly the lights go out, you will know why. Okay, you will know why. I have the plug, so that's always an advantage. I have to tell you, that's always an advantage. So yeah. How was your week? It's been an interesting week, wasn't it? I mean, there's been so many news. We have Chinese in Mars. We have Elon Musk on Saturday Night Live. That we haven't talked for a while. There is so many things that we have to comment.
I really enjoyed the Saturday Night Live with Elon. It's not a show I usually see. I follow many shows in America, but not Saturday because I'm not for I would say, the funny aspects. I prefer other kind of more hardcore stuff like politics or technology stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so, you like polarizing stuff, it's something that you can argue about, for sure.
but I enjoy the SNL, and the always amazing thing is how Elon is able to appear like is himself. I mean, I am a person that has Asperger's question. I am a person that, he's natural, totally.
I love the sentence. I mean, the Asperger's, it's something that it's been, talked a lot about before this event, right? And confirming was something funny, but I love the sentence. I reinvented the cars. I am sending rockets to space. Would you expect me to be a normal, chill dude? Not, right? It's like it was an interesting aspect. Even though I have to say I have been very mad at him after Saturday Night Live because he's been trashing Bitcoin, and that's not good for my wallet. I have to tell you.
The question is not about Bitcoin. The question is if your wallet also has Dogecoins. That's the sad point.
I'm sorry. I do not buy meme coins. I do not. I do not. I just have what I believe to be serious coins, but now at this point I don't know what a serious coin is anymore. But it's been interesting on that piece. But no, I believe that the crypto run is still just starting. Even with Elon, I think it's just starting.
Victor, I'm gonna say something maybe a little bit politic. Is that every time I see Elon doing that kind of stuff, I'm thinking that the main social networks will act with him something like with Trump. So because if he says Dogecoin is nothing, so Dogecoin goes down. If he says Tesla is going out of Bitcoins for making transaction, your Bitcoins wallet and everyone is going down. So I'm pretty sure that at some moment, this man is going to have a problem with his Twitter and his communications because
at some point, someone will do something about his Twitter accounts, right? I mean, I think he already had a ton of problem with the SEC when he announced, that he had buyers for Tesla shares. I mean, having one man with that power to manipulate anything, right? But especially in the economic market, wow.
That's the difference because, Trump also is a man that has plenty of business, but his business, I'm pretty sure, was not moving as fast as the Elon Musk wants. And I'm pretty sure that the competent government agency in US will say, man, you have to be a little bit more quiet.
You have to stop at some point. Or jail may be in the cards. I don't know. I mean, it's been funny, right? I mean, but it's I would worry more about people that let themselves influence their life by one tweet than of him tweeting. I mean, I am very liberal on that aspect. I have my political views are super split, right? And now we are going very deep into the rabbit hole, right? But for some things I'm very liberal, for some very conservative. But on this, I would say that anyone should be able to tweet absolutely anything that they want. But what I'm worried is that millions of people decide their economic future by a tweet of someone that they haven't probably met ever, right? And so I am more worried about the other side, about putting some judgment in people's brains than trying to control what anyone can do or say, on
Have
that base.
Have you had the opportunity to read his memory, his biography?
I
And
haven't. I haven't. I have to. I haven't
so
read it.
so
Have
let
you?
me recommend you. This guy has plenty of books talking about him, but this week after the SNL, I remember that at some moment by my Audible account, I think I have Lift Off.
Mm-hmm.
It's a book about the history of one of his many business about
SpaceX,
SpaceX,
right?
and I retook the book and I listened the book again, and I mean this guy is an amazing person. This is something he also says on the SNL, I remember. So maybe he is not as intelligent and most people thinks he is, but he's a man that works a lot, a
Mm-hmm.
lot, a lot.
And
I
that's.
mean,
I mean that.
I mean,
I am not comparing
weeks
myself
weeks
to him in any way.
120 hours are normal.
No,
120
but
hours
that's the
are
thing. I
normal.
mean, I always say the same, right? And again, I'm not comparing myself to him at all. But I am not especially intelligent. I have I would say a stupidly crazy work ethics, and the other thing is that I am extremely stubborn. I mean, and I'm gonna go full Catalan now, but caparrut. It's the word we use in Mallorquin for that, and it's true. I mean, when you ask, my teachers and my mom, when I was younger, it's not about being smart. I was very stubborn, and when I didn't understand something, I took it personally on that piece, and it's just a matter of hours. I mean, you cannot really understand and do almost anything you want if you put yourself to it. It's just a
I,
matter of being caparrut, which again, for
I,
our
wa-
English viewers,
I
is
was
stubborn.
trying. I was trying. It was stubborn, but also I think it's something like doing with the head on the wall, because
Definitely,
I'm
definitely.
gonna do that. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, it's
And
like,
when
and
you
if you
feel
tell me I
you're
can't, I will double down. I mean, if you
that's
tell
the
me I
point.
cannot, I will double
And
down.
suddenly you notice that you have blood, and you say, okay, maybe I'm having some kind of problem, but you're still.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, it's like, no, I mean, it's funny, right? I mean, it depends a lot on the. I think it's a matter of personal choice and attitude, right? But if I am not, if my forehead is not bleeding, I am doing something wrong at some point. It's like I like walls somehow. It's
So I
weird.
see you are
It's weird.
showing up
Of
again,
course,
or lovely, but
our man.
this one is not the GDE one. It's the Google
Oh, you have
one,
the Google one today.
the
That's
Google
good.
one.
That's good. That's
And the
good. That's good. I
question,
like it.
and we are not having the same script than as usual, but this week is a very special week on the year, because on Tuesday we have the Google I/O.
It is, and we have to speak about that because it's gonna be the first, as far as it's the first Google I/O ever to be fully remote. I mean, that has never
Yeah,
happened,
yeah.
and I wonder what effect will have, on people. Have you? I imagine you obviously have signed up for that. I know that you are doing it live on Tuesday with a lot of our good friends on that
Yeah.
piece. But what do you think of the social aspect? I mean, I'm sad because by this time, other years, I would have already probably met some friends, from Germany, Turkey. I mean, all over the world. I have so many lunches and dinners. Right, the week before I/O, it's always meeting with a lot of people,
Yeah.
and we have been texting. We have been texting. On right now, we will be eating clam chowder. Right,
Yeah,
if we
yeah.
were here,
Usually,
and we couldn't.
usually, usually a day like this one is Sunday before the Google I/O. We will be arriving to the summit of the GDGs.
That's true
This
too.
was the usual plan.
That's
So
true too.
we met and have sometimes usually a good dinner, sometimes also in the past good alcohol,
Yeah,
and
that's
there was a
another
party.
another one of those confessable secrets. The GDEs, we also have a dinner. By category, we also have a GDE for web, a GDE for whatever, right? A dinner. Usually the week before. It's not like an official event, but we usually have a dinner before that. So yeah, that's that week, and I think that I am sure the content is gonna be on top. Of its game. I'm sure they have spent a lot of time preparing the content, a lot of time preparing even the live sessions that they're gonna have with questions from the audience, etc. I am sure they have prepared that very well. But again, Google I/O is is much more than the sessions, right? And we have spoken about this on other episodes, but I'm gonna miss that, right? And it's the
Sure.
I was talking with a friend the day before yesterday, and we were talking. This is the first year in my life where I haven't met a significant amount of new people. So I have been in touch with the people I know, but I cannot tell you. I cannot right now. I cannot remember one person other than our guests in the GDE show. That some of them I didn't met before. I cannot remember anyone that I said, "Oh wow, this year I met this person, right? This new person in my life." And that's another consequence of the pandemic, right? And one of the source of great friends every year, and of great new people to meet every year, it's Google I/O. So, but yeah, it's funny. I don't know about you, but have you met do you remember in the last 12 months or the last 18 months, have you met someone new that you say, wow, this person is amazing, no? Or have that social kind of these new social interactions gone down for you too?
Well, I'm sure I did. I mean, you know it very well. We have had here in Spain. I'm talking from Spain, from Lleida, in the north of Spain. We have I would say a crazy online activity, and we develop plenty of events online. You've been invited to many of them, and you've been also co-organizing some of them. And I could say yes, not. Of course, we don't have the personal relationship that is very important, like going to have some beers, going to have dinner, and anything else that is social. But yes, I have connected with. Maybe you're true in the point that this is not I would say a 50 new good people, nice people. Maybe I only have to say 10, but at least we didn't have stopped the
even
activity.
if I think really hard about it, maybe 3 in the last 12 months,
Yeah.
And usually you know me, for an engineer I am a very social person. I really like I really like, no, it's true. I mean, I really like to connect with people, and it's part of what makes being a GDE and being involved with the community so great, is that you get to meet great people, right, on that, and it's something that I have definitely noticed this year. The only thing that I'm really excited about is that before the pandemic, right before, I was really tired, and there was I was on a phase of my life where I was doing less events than usual because I was really tired. And after missing them for a year, I realized how much I'm missing them on that piece. After this, I'm going back strong. I miss it so much.
Let me show you an example that maybe you are counting not good, because in 2 days Google is going to announce the Google Summer of Code internship for this summer. Yes. You are going to be mentor in our lovely Liquid Galaxy community.
Of an amazing student, I have to say, that we already met. I count that on the 3-person, by the way.
And also, I have some stickers for you for your laptop when we met in the future.
Nice.
And those are special ones.
I love swag. I'm sorry we interrupt the show, but I love swag. I'm so sorry.
This is silicone ones. Those are not simple paper. Are special ones.
That's amazing.
And you also will be meeting other mentors, new mentors, people that you don't know.
That I'm really excited about. That's true. But yeah, that's the other thing that we won't have, right? I have my bottle of water. You know this bottle of water. I mean,
I can bring up my. I have plenty of this one because they didn't change the design too much, and I have plenty of this over there. But I have to move the camera. Don't move it.
No, because I mean, I love your room, but I know there is some very personal and public stuff in there, so it's hard to. I have to visit sometime in Lleida because your background looks so interesting. I want to do like a forensic analysis of your cork on the back. And see everyone.
So let's talk about this, and let's start a little bit on the GDE show.
Okay, fair enough.
And let's go back to 2012.
I managed, by the way, to skip 20 minutes of your question. So on my book, I am already winning on this. I managed to do the introduction a little bit longer today. But yeah, 2012. Okay, I'm following you. 9 years ago.
Because this was the year we met the very first time. It was at Google I/O when Google I/O was at Moscone Center in San Francisco, not in Mountain View. So I remember the video, the short video you take on the floor, exhibition floor of Google I/O,
Yeah.
and I was showing up some work with Google about the Google Earth with plenty of screens. That those screens are something similar. That what is your actual, I would say,
Very
job or
very
company?
funny enough. Yeah, that's my company. That's matched me on the thing. What I don't know if I have ever told you this. Do you know why I approached you to speak with you on that very first day? Other than because Liquid Galaxy is really cool. It's because
Tell
I
me.
heard you speaking in Catalan over the
Ah,
phone.
yeah. Yeah.
You were speaking in Catalan over the phone. I was
Ah,
like, oh wow, I have to say hello. I have to say hello, and it was because the Liquid Galaxy was very cool. But the mixture of really cool technology and someone speaking my mother tongue on the Google I/O floor, I have to meet this guy. I have to meet this guy,
yeah.
that's why I approached I had to say hello.
I can say that not too much Catalan have been there. Not too much.
I'm sure.
Maybe no one else. No one
Yeah,
ever.
no, but
No one ever.
that's the kind of the importance of the language in connecting people. On that piece. Sometimes it was really funny, but it was my trigger, right, to approach you
No,
for sure.
you never told me. You told me that you hear me, but I don't know that I was talking in Catalan to
Yeah,
somebody.
you were on the
That's nice.
phone, talking in Catalan
Yeah.
with somebody, and again, I would have approached to the technology anyway, for sure, but to meet you as specifically, that was because because
So
I heard you speaking Catalan.
let's go back to 2012. What do you remember about this Google I/O? Because it was a very special one.
I remember. I have to tell you, one of the things that I noticed, and because I have had questions on this type of things. Honestly, I don't remember anything about any specific Google I/O. All my memories are so mixed
Oh,
up. I honestly do not remember much of the specific years on that piece. For instance, if you ask me what was the parachute Google Glass announcement, I don't remember the year. I remember that
this
happened.
one,
Oh, it was that
this
one.
one, this one.
But you see, I mean, but honestly, I don't remember. You know what I mean? I don't remember which year is which at this point.
Yeah.
Everything is mixed up in my head, and I
No,
noticed
but
that
I,
a
I
couple of
told you,
months back when someone spoke to me about it.
I told you precisely because this was a very special year. I mean, it's difficult to remember because most of the years, I would say Google I/O sometimes is a kind of boring. I would say a kind of boring.
Yeah, I
So
mean it's
there are no.
I would say not boring, but it's in the terms of its template, right? The template or the
Oh,
cookie cutter template is
let's
the
okay,
same, right?
okay. Let's gonna change the
But yeah,
word. It's not boring, but it's. I was thinking which was a nice
I
word to
mean
say.
it's
It's
nicely
standard.
repetitive. Let me put it. It's nicely repetitive.
Standard,
Standard. That's true.
standard,
That's true.
standard.
That's true.
Okay, well, we can go, for example, with the weather. The weather sometime when we come back to Mountain View was not as, and
That's true.
we remember the weather for some years. But 2012 has to be remembered, and I have my Google class still there.
Me
I
too.
have to be remembered by the moment that this crazy guy, Sergey Brin, goes out from the sky in a Zeppelin
I
and
mean,
goes down
I
to
was
the college.
convinced that it was a montage. I mean,
It
when I
was
was
not.
seeing it, I was convinced it was a montage. And then when I realized it was happening for real, the first time I saw, I realized that, oh my God, this is live. When I saw the exterior of the Moscone with all the Google I/O decorations that we saw when you enter inside, and when he was coming down, and I realized, oh my God, that's live. I mean, that's the street right now, and I was mind blown when that happened. It was quite interesting.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
imagine, right, putting the Wi-Fi for that connection, right? I mean, obviously they had some kind of directional antenna of him coming down, so he could put that downlink. But it's I'm sorry, I have to say this. I'm gonna be so mean, but we cannot make the Wi-Fi works on Google I/O inside the Moscone, but you can put Wi-Fi on someone jumping from a zeppelin. But that's engineering is very funny, right? You can put Wi-Fi on someone jumping from a couple of 100 meters on top of the building, but you cannot get Wi-Fi inside the building for everyone. It's mind blowing, but sometimes technology, has its contradictions, and this was a very big one for sure. But because again, from a technical perspective, having a directional antenna tracking, I assume that's how they did it, right? But
I don't know. I don't know.
Again,
I'm thinking it was not this way.
I don't
because
know.
the
I don't
Wi-Fi
see.
is not permitting this use normally.
I don't know how they did it. I mean, honestly, unless you do it with a very directional antenna, something on the backpack and something on the ground with a very directional and powerful antenna, I don't know how they did it otherwise. But it's true that in order to do a transmission like that, you would have had to have permission of the city. But with that said, in order to jump from a zeppelin, I mean,
Also,
someone had to speak with the mayor for a long
but
time.
if there is a city in the world that you can jump from a zeppelin, is San Francisco, because
That's true. That's true.
plenty
I
of
mean, we
plenty,
are crazy here.
plenty of people will know this history, but zeppelins were used a lot in World War II in US, and one of the unique base of zeppelins was in Mountain View, and is there, still is there. They are dismantling the installation, but when you go to Mountain View and just cross 100 meters downtown to San Jose, to the left is Moffett Base, NASA Moffett, and there is still a parking of zeppelins.
That's
This
awesome.
enormous building that there is there. It was a parking of zeppelins.
You see what I spend so much time talking with you? It's because there is not a conversation where I don't learn something. I didn't know that, so now I have
You
something to
remember
visit.
you
I have
remember
something
the
to visit.
building I'm talking.
Yeah. I have been
So,
at the NASA facility, but I didn't know that there was a Zeppelin parking there.
so in the Ames Research Center, this building was a Zeppelin parking. This is the reason
Wow, I
the
didn't
building
know.
has this special figure. They are actually dismantling. So
Wow.
let me tell you another history.
Please, fire away.
If Cynthia was there, would say Andreu is going to say another batallita. You can tweet it. You can tweet it. I help
Yeah,
to the team of Campus Party in Spain to go to US, and the Campus Party Silicon Valley was going to be held on this building. And I was talking with Google and with NASA about using this building for having the Campus Party Silicon Valley there.
that's so
But
awesome. And,
it was
it didn't happen.
it didn't happen.
Ah,
We work a lot, I will say, but the funds were not found finally, and it was not enough the support from Telefónica in Spain.
sometimes happen.
It didn't happen, but we work a lot, and I should repeat, talking with NASA and talking with Google to have support from
I'm
them.
sure you made many friends trying. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure you made many friends trying.
Another question is that people do not know this. When we are in other years, we were in Mountain View, they don't know that you actually can go inside the US the NASA installation. You can go inside. You can go. Most of the people has not this knowledge for two reasons. One is that just before you enter the facilities, there is I will not say beautiful, because it's not so beautiful, but they have a museum installation.
Yeah.
Have you visited?
Yeah,
You
I
visited
have
this one?
several
So
times, because I bring anyone that is as geeky as me. It's one of
yeah,
the mandatory stops. So I have been
but you
there
know that this has
plenty of
changed
times
also.
actually. Yeah,
You
of
know
course.
that this is no longer. They
Yeah,
have another one. They
I
have
know.
refurbished. So the point is that you can go inside Ames Research Base, because the base has several other installations, regular installations, like buildings for doing business or many, and they have also a NASA bar. I've been having many times dinner here, lunch here, next to not to astronauts, but some people with the
Yeah,
from the I will
engineering
say
or the research team. Yeah,
of the many kind of people live there, because there is a plenty of different installations, uh, military and astronautic and so on. It's a very curious job. So let's go back. So if I ask you, what do you remember from Google I/O 2013? You didn't remember
no,
anything.
nothing. I
Nothing.
couldn't honest to God. I cannot split them. It's like everything in my head is basically the same at this point. I have to
I'm
go back
gonna
to my photos. For funny enough,
I'm gonna tell you a phrase only,
please.
and you will remember this. For me, Google I/O 2013 has a very sad moment.
A very sad moment.
Sad moment.
Oh my God!
Yes.
Why? I But it wasn't the one when we changed venues, right? So it kind
No,
of, that was way later for sure.
no,
That is very recent.
it
That is
was
very
later.
recent. Why is that? Why is
And
that?
so um,
It
I'm
didn't.
saying it was 2013, and I'm not. I think it's 2014, but I'm not sure also.
You see,
But
you cannot differentiate either. It's really hard. It's really hard.
that's no, it is of course, it is of course. I can remember, for example, 2013 clearly for some points because I work there. So my experience of Google I/O for years was different from yours or other people because I was working inside
Of
the
course.
exposition. So it's so different being a worker there. I was working at the exhibition, so I entered the Google I/O days before the show started to work there, and also later I attended the conference like any of you, but. The point I remember was in the keynote, the thing that we are going to listen on this next Tuesday.
Yeah.
The keynote this year, and I'm pretty sure it was 2014, was developed given by Larry, not Sergey.
Mm-hmm.
Sergey didn't talk also
Yeah, I
when
remember.
because
He usually doesn't, right? I mean, it's been a while since the keynotes, right, have been changing a lot, obviously, over the years. But since Pitcher took over, they have changed a lot, right?
so
The
as
keynotes.
I'm pretty sure you was there. I'm going to say you what do you remember? I hope you remember now.
Let's see, let's
They
see.
have an enormous screen on the back,
I
and they
remember
have
that, yeah.
Google Earth
Mm-hmm.
on the in a black in a night view of Google Earth. It
Mm-hmm.
was a slowly rotating
I
globe,
remember.
very
I remember that for sure on that
pre-
piece.
precious. You know that I worked for Google Earth team for years.
I know, I know.
It was moving. It was moving slowly, but then the keynote was given by Larry and not Sergey. The point about Larry is that he has a problem with his
Yeah, I remember well. Yeah,
with his
with the
voice because
vocal
he has.
cords. Yeah.
Yes, with the vocal cords, so he has a problem, and he has I would say, a monotone voice. No, so when he speaks, he seems to be like a robot, but this is from a disease he has
Yeah, no,
already.
I know, I know.
So the problem was that Larry still has not finished the keynote. That people started to go out of the room, and I was saying, "Where are you going, man and woman? You're crazy. You have the co-founder of Google here explaining to you all the news and
And
his
you are
point
going
of view,
away.
and you are
That's
leaving
so sad.
away. Come
That's so
back."
sad.
But it was not one or two person. It was, I would say, a third of the people inside the room. Enormous Moscone room with 5,000, 6,000 people.
I
I would
remember
say
this.
two
I don't know
thousand
what
people
year was it, but I remember this. Yeah.
leaving the room. I think it was 2013,
I was sitting
14.
with Abdon when that happened, and
Uh-huh.
we were very sad to see. We were very sad to see. I
It was
remember now.
very, very sad.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
2014, I'm
You're
pretty sure.
right. You're right.
So,
Very,
yes.
very, very rude on the audience, especially because again, I mean, it's not every day that you get to hear him, right? And again, I am
We never had the
never,
opportunity
never,
later.
never,
Never.
literally,
Yeah.
literally.
They don't the couple that were the founders never like it to be stars.
No,
So
no,
it's
no.
difficult.
So
It's difficult to
when you
have the
have them,
opportunity
yeah, no,
to.
for
Yeah.
sure, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it
Yeah.
was there's been bittersweet moments, right? On those keynotes sometimes, because it's true that the Google I/O, well, any accumulation of people, you can see the best and the worst of people in those spaces, right? When you put enough people together, you can see very strange behaviors on that. I also remember, for instance, when I believe it was the year. What again? I was kind of disappointed of people, right? When there was announced. I believe it was the year where they announced the tablet, that they were giving a tablet and a phone or something like that. And when they made the announcement that you could pick them up outside, people stopped watching the keynote just to go to devices. And it was like, the devices are gonna be there. You have your ticket. Why are you doing? It frustrates me a lot. It frustrates me a lot. And
This year was a swag year because they give us a Nexus 5, I think, a
yeah, I
tablet. It
mean,
was a Nexus
I
5.
was honestly happy. I mean, when they stopped giving out devices, I was very happy. The reason why, because when they started doing the devices, it was all developers, and then year after year, more people was getting the tickets only for getting the devices, and you had a lot of the crowd in there that, and again, I mean, it's totally respectable. I respect the strategy. Anyone can do whatever they want, right? But from a networking perspective, the crowd was way worse because you had so many people, that so many inflow of people coming in. So the year that people got really mad because, oh, they are not giving out devices any longer, I was so happy because the year after that, everyone was a developer again, and the crowd got back. So I think I know that no one liked it at the time, but the year after, when everyone was a technical crowd again, I was so happy. And I'm sure it was intended.
They started to give away some minis, at least. You
Exactly.
remember?
No, exactly. But
We
that's
have plenty
fine.
stacked of minis because they give away
I
one
have some
or two.
of them too. I have some of them too. But now all my family has a mini at home. So all my
No,
family has a
that's
mini
the
at home.
point. That's the point because
Yeah,
they also
yeah.
give away in other situations, and so you have plenty. So let's try to make at least is this a final episode for this season? We will
This
come back.
season, absolutely,
Maybe we will come back in a different way, but we will come back
for
later.
sure,
We will
for sure.
announce not today, but So let's try to do the usual stuff. So I
Please.
have to make you the typical questions we have on the other
Fair
GD
enough.
show.
Fair enough. I
So
respect
question
that.
will be, how do you started on technology? What was this wow moment you have to go and start in this crazy world we work?
So I had three moments in my life
Well,
that defined me as that, and each one of them are really important, right? In terms of the technology, there is a picture of myself. Maybe I am 5 or 6 year old. There is a picture of myself when I got my first remote control car, and it's a Christmas. I am on the street on the very first flat I remember living with my family, and you can see I have my family around me, etc. And I am with my RC controller, which was a very basic, the very first RC card that I remember. Before I had many where there was a cable, right, between the controller and the car. There was a long
boom.
cable, and I had to run around that, and I loved those. And that Christmas, when I was 5 or 6, my family bought me my first RC controller. And in that picture, my dad managed to capture the exact first time where I used the car. And I am, hunkering down on the ground with the remote very, very close. And you see the car going out, right? And it's far away from me, longer than any cable ever was. And my face on that picture is like, this is magic, right? this is
Wow.
this is this is magic. So that was the first one, right? That was the first one where I got absolutely captivated by electronic toys. And from there on, basically any Christmas present ever, there was a remote on it, right? I mean, from that moment on, because honestly, I mean, I was hypnotized by that fact, right? The second one, the second moment was a few years back when I was. They gave me a present that I'm sure my parents regret a lot, which is a set of screwdrivers. A set of screwdrivers, because when I got that set of screwdrivers, because I wanted to see what was inside the toy. And my parents caught me several times breaking the toys to open them because I didn't have a screwdriver. So they bought me a screwdriver. What was the problem? I started to basically use it into anything: the TV, the microwave, the refrigerator, my
Be
toys.
careful. Victor is coming with with a
Yes,
screwdriver. Be
yes. So
careful.
I just started unassembling things around the house uncontrollably. And you know what happens? I mean, even for professional engineers, you know what happens with the screwdrivers. There is something, one left that you don't know where it was originally. So imagine when I, storming around the house, putting things, separating things, trying to put them back together and failing at it. So it was, a very dangerous one. And then the other one is, some of you know that, right? But I had a bad moment in my life where I was, I couldn't move as much, and had a leg problem for a few years. And during that period, it's when my father never brought me to soccer or something like that, which is something that in Spain you would do. My father, what was doing with the time that we spent together, is he was bringing computers home, and he was teaching me MS DOS. He was teaching me basic, right, that he used at work. And for many years, the office at my parents' jobs. And I hope that I mean it's been many years, so I'm sure whatever crimes could have been involved, but they never threw computers, right? The computers that were supposed to be thrown out, they always ended up under my screwdriver on the piece, And
What model of computers were those first ones?
I honestly do not remember.
I
It's been very long on that, but I do remember my first green phosphorus screen on that piece. I remember installing on the very first PC ever. Installing the Monkey Island that my dad brought from London in 16 floppy disks.
It was CGA, 4 colors.
Exactly.
CGA.
That's the
we have
first
to
one
say.
that has
CGA, 4 colors.
4 colors. Absolutely. That was my very first, and I have played since then. I have played Monkey Island probably 20 or 30 times, but no, it was very progressive for me, right? In terms of that, but I was coding since a very young age. I remember, for instance, selling a Microsoft Access script to one local business in Mallorca when I was a minor. The Argentum community, which was the first 2D MMO by an Argentinian guy, and I was collaborating in that. And they discovered that I was a minor when they tried to pay me for my freelance job for the first time, and they couldn't because I was a minor. So I had a lot of small stories, but the reality, right, is that the defining moments, right, are some of the ones that I just mentioned. But the reason I did telecom communications, which is I am not a computer science, right? I mean, I know computer science because telecommunications.
You are a teleco.
Exactly, a teleco, right? And there is a combination of three things. Basically, physics, right, electronics, and computer science on the same kind of degree, if you want. But the reason why I chose teleco and not computer science is because I could never get over that first remote controller. That thing it burned my brain, and from that day on, I needed to understand how
in computer science, you didn't use a screwdriver.
No, definitely
and
not.
You know that there is something called Wi-Fi or whatever you can call it, but for you, it's a way of transport, TCP, a layer of information. You don't care about the electronics behind, but you need to know. Yeah. So for this reason, you go to that point. And let me ask you the other typical question: how was the way you approached to the Google stuff?
So this was another of those things that I wasn't expected at all, right? On this, because I was participating at the time in a lot of Google forums when I got because the GDGs or the GTAGs, right, which were the thing previous to that, way before those existed. During my period where I couldn't move much and my only window to the world was the internet, I was participating in plenty of Google related forums, right? Because I was following the technologies. They were changing a lot the way that they were trying to approach developers, right? And at that time, I was trying every technology under the sun. And someone from Google approached me, sent me an email that said they saw one of my posts on one of these many places where I was posting about Google technologies. And I wasn't even, not an expert at all on anything. I was mostly asking questions, but I was asking a lot of them. And eventually, of course, I started replying to questions because it's just a natural way, right, on doing that. Yeah. And somehow they found me and they wanted me to try the very first Google TV devices from Logitech, the very first prototypes that then became Google TV. But at that time, this was 2 or 3 years before that, and now a few years back, the NDA that I signed at that time expired on that piece. But I was trying. My first contact ever was trying the very first prototypes of that they sent me to Mallorca, and it was very complicated because then they realized I was doing all of that in English, and they realized that I wasn't from there. So
in London
exactly, but they managed to send it to me. They managed to send it to me because I was writing everything in English at the time, and they managed to found me, and they never lost touch in that sense, right? There was suddenly, because of that relationship, and because again I have been always like very intense in everything I do, so I took it very seriously. The opportunity to give feedback on a Google device, I took it massive, and I was a minor still. I mean, I got so excited, and I started to send these many emails, and suddenly they fixed the bug that I reported, and they told me to download the new firmware. It was really exciting to see that. Oh wow! I mean, I'm putting hours in testing this and trying to break it, but they are listening. And that's been always a very surprising thing from
Yeah.
Google, from the Google connection over the years. And it's true, right? Sometimes they will take their time. Sometimes they will listen, but nothing will change because Google is a big company, but they always listen. And the reason I started is they not only listen to me, they found me and then listen to me when I was giving feedback on that very first device. And that's my
Yeah.
very first memory. I still have that device,
Amazing.
by the way, the
Amazing, amazing.
prototype.
I know the Logitech prototypes. I'm a few. I don't remember other companies. Maybe Sony. There was
Mhm.
something, two or three different companies, but it was amazing. So you still was minor, and Google contacted you. This is something.
I don't think they knew that I was a minor. That's I've been always playing with that. But I
Believe
was
me, they
17.
will not do that at this moment because I work with plenty of
Absolutely
minors
not.
with Google.
Absolutely
I
not.
have to fill up many papers with his parents and so on because it's a crazy moment. You
It
can you
wouldn't
can do
have
that.
happened, right? Today it wouldn't have happened, but that's one of the beauties of the internet is that no one knows, and at that time, no one was
Yeah,
asking you if you
it's a,
were
it's a very
underage or not. You know,
it's a very nice history, Victor. I didn't know it. It's a very
that
very
was my
nice.
first contact with
Uh,
Google ever.
I'm not the one interviewed today, but I'm gonna
Please
have another
fire away,
batallita.
of
I'm gonna
course.
have another batallita, and the point is more about talking about what's the difference between Google and other companies, and maybe we can say uh, it's now, but in the past was bigger. So you can reach Google in different ways than you can with other companies. Google is always more reachable. What you're saying is
Yeah,
this one. I mean, you were working, and the people that work, I'm pretty sure they were a small team inside whatever building in Mountain
I'm
View.
sure. Yeah,
But they contacted you, a minor, in Mallorca, and they give to you a tool that was a few $100s, and they wait feedback from you. So this
and
never happens in
it's
other
crazy. I
companies.
mean, they shipped it from the US.
Yeah, yeah,
Somehow, I mean, somehow they found me. They contacted me. They didn't care who I was or was I was active on the community. They didn't ask, right? They wanted.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we have this thing that we have that we want to put back. Logitech has made a prototype for us. We would like you to try it and to give us feedback. This is the NDA that we want you to sign. I signed it
It's
digitally at that time. No one asked me if I was. I mean, I never lied,
I don't
but no
have
one
I
asked
don't
me at
have
that time.
I don't have permissions to sign here. I'm a minor.
Yeah,
No,
so
but
it was
the
fun.
point
It
I was
was
trying
yeah.
it was not a betadita for real. It's an experience. So for also my experience with Google for years. I've been working for years. I'm not gonna taking it, but I still have my first check from Google here, and I didn't. It didn't never go to the bank, so I have it still here. And believe me, it's from 1990. 2001 to
How
1999.
much
I don't
is yours
remember.
for? I have mine.
You have tour.
Yeah.
Mine
How
is it's an amazingly big check, $34.
$34. Mine is 23.5 on that
Okay,
bit, and it's from
you're
ads. It's from
you
Google Ads, and I have it too. I have it too.
yeah.
It's the first one
So
that went over $20, and the first one that they sent me. So I never cashed it because it was
we have exactly the same experience. So
we are
and we
yeah
never talked about.
we have the same experiences, and we are as sentimental as the other is because I also saved it. I also saved it, and I never
Uh,
cashed it.
I make it plastically. I cover it with plastic. Lo
I didn't
plastifique.
go
So I
that
have
far.
it.
I didn't go that
No,
far,
no,
but I
I
have
have
it.
it. I have it, and I shown it physically to many Google persons I meet years and years after, and then and suddenly on these conversations I have with Google people, and I bring my initial check, and I show the check to them, and I was explaining to them exactly the same conversation we are having now, that Google is more reachable than other companies.
Yeah.
Maybe in the past were more reachable even, and now are bigger companies, so
They
it's a
are
little bit
also
more
bigger,
reachable.
right? And they
Yeah,
compete with
yeah,
many more than they
yeah,
did before. So,
yeah,
I mean, one of the things of being as open as Google was, and I'm sure that worked very well for them. But I also know of many really bad actors and really bad stories of people that got the trust from Google and they responded to that trust leaking information, right? So, and I took very seriously the commitments I do because I know now that I have a company, I know how tough it is sometimes to do research without leaking your ideas and what you are building. And sometimes it's not that you don't want to show to the world or you are trying to protect something. Is that you are doing things, and a lot of them maybe will never see the light of day, because innovation is a lot of destruction, right? Involved on, in order to do new things, you have to break way more than the ones that you actually put out. So I put myself right into the shoes of a big company where everything that you do is a big deal, and how to try that, right? And they were so trustful at the beginning, and now trust is has to be earned with Google and with the Google community too. And again, that's also to be honest, a sign of times, right? In the sense that,
Yeah.
because I have heard so many bad stories of things, people that were supposed to be beta testers, or or people that were leaking information that they couldn't. I understand, and I've been involved in other programs, right? And the reason why I am so appreciative of the programs that I'm involved with Google is for that transparency. And I know that when they don't release something, or where they are being especially cagey, is because they usually have a good reason, right, on that thing. And I am still very naive. But I believe the best of people and of companies even first, right? I mean, and you have to change my mind, but I believe the best in people as long
So,
as I can.
next step.
Yep.
This is the way you approach Google, but how do you enter the GDE program?
So it was a combination of a lot of things. I don't know if you remember Ines. Ines was one of the, I would say, the first. She wasn't really a dev rel, because she was in marketing, but she was dedicating the famous 20% of Google to doing that. And at that time, I was very involved in UPM. I was at IEEE in the student branch in the university, and I was doing a lot of events, and a lot of the events were Google related. And because of that previous contact, right, I was saying, is there anyone that I can contact with? Because I would love to have someone from Google coming in and see what we are doing, because we were doing things that were related. We were developing in Android. We were having, connecting handmade electronics to the Android using the USB API at that time. So I wanted, right, to have those contacts on that piece. So and then. My focus, if you want, right, I started to be web. Little by little, I started with Java. I started with Visual Basic, obviously, and I went to Java. Then from Java, I branched in plenty of other things. I tried many things, but I fell in love with the web. For how easy, right, it was to see your results and publish them and have people access them and use them. Funny enough, I fell in love also with JavaScript, even though it tortured me for years, but I fell in love with JavaScript. That for that ability, right?
You have the experience now. JavaScript is always a love and
I know, and
history and country.
And it has it has evolved a lot, and it's
both
now
sides
criticized on that piece. But yeah, I started those contacts and doing those events, and then little by little I started to specialize on that. From Ines went to Almo, and Almo was the one that kind of encouraged me and recommended me for the program.
Sorry for stopping you. What time is it on our recording today? What time is it?
We are on the 54 minute.
Okay.
We're taking a lot.
I have to tweet it. I have to tweet that Almo has finally appeared in today's show.
Yeah, finally. No, go ahead and tweet it. But yeah, I mean, I have a problem with the name of the program. I have to tell you, with the Google Developer Expert name, I have a problem, because I do not consider myself an expert. I always say the same. I am just, an eternal learner. I mean, if it was Google Developer Learner, I would be very happy with the title. But Google Developer Expert, it's tough to say that you are an expert, especially in web technologies, right? I always say the same. I have the title that says web technologies, but I know a lot. I know a little bit about all of them. That's true, but I know a lot about a few of them, right? A few tranches of what is web technologies. But nowadays, I mean, I don't know. You cannot say any longer, right, that you are an expert in web technologies, because web technologies as a field, it's massive. It's
crazy, enormous.
So I have a problem with the title, because again, I mean, I am an expert. I know about a little bit about all of them, but I am an expert in a very small tranche of it, which is, as you know, WebRTC, performance on client side, client side architecture, etc. But there is other aspects of it. I mean, if right now, I mean, I couldn't code, web USB. If you force me to code web USB, I'm gonna Google it. I don't know how to even get started, and that's it's there. So again, I mean, Google developer, eternal learner, I would be happy with that. But expert is a problem for me because again, I mean, I always tell the same, right? And people is like fascinated by the interview process, right? And they ask you, what did they ask you about? And the reality is that they ask you about what you know, about the trends that you know, because the title is very broad, but the reality is that they match you, and they do that very well. This is a little bit of insider information. They match you when they interview you with a Googler that is very similar to you in terms of knowledge and an area of expertise, so you can have a conversation. And I never felt interrogated, right? It was a nice conversations, geeking out about things we love, basically. That was my
and how do you link it? At what moment of your life you link it this to make your own company related to web technologies? Because this is what MashMe is. Explain us, when do you start to be an entrepreneur, a startup?
So I studied at UPM in telecomunicaciones in Madrid. But
you can say teleco. You can say teleco.
Teleco.
For our English audience, teleco is the name we can
telecommunications. It's a weird mixture that we have in Europe. So yeah, I moved to the US because I was very lucky. Well, I worked really hard also, but I was very lucky to have the opportunity, right? And there was a program where the last year of teleco you could do at IIT, at Illinois Institute of Technology, and there I met, again very luckily, I met the people organizing a startup week in Chicago, and a startup week in Chicago was a very before it was a very a kind of a very weird event in the sense that it was a hackathon involved, but it wasn't a hackathon that you didn't win only with your technical skills. You needed to present a business plan and having that. And I was addicted to hackathons. I've been addicted to hackathons for many years. I have miserably lost and impressively win many.
You learn. You don't lose. You learn
but
more
it's
things.
True. But I've lost and win a lot, right, over the years. But a startup week in Chicago, the first one where on my first year at IIT, it was impressive to me because I started meeting people that usually, a finance guy, a business guy, a lawyer. When you are a young engineer, you don't respect them very much. I'm sorry, but I did it at that time. But I found a new discovered respect for those business types, and I saw how they were able to, and it fascinated me. I'm sorry, but how they were able to win me and my team and us on that first edition, right? With a technologically inferior product, but with a much better tongue. They were speaking so well about it. They were selling it so well. And it fascinated me. And I realized that it didn't matter how good of an engineer I was if I wasn't able to make people use it afterwards. And they were winning me at making people use it afterwards, at having people passionate about that. I built so many prototypes of things before that moment, right? And I never managed to get traction out of them. But suddenly, these guys that had no technical knowledge, they were able to win me with their passion, with their ability to sell it to me.
And then you entered the dark side. I would say the dark side because developers never like this other side of the question. I would say because you're saying it perfectly. You can be a programmer, but at some point you have to want that people uses your code at some moment. Exactly. And for this reason, maybe it will be a company, it will be I don't know what, but you have to think not only having a good code, a good use case, but also other kind of situations like promotion, like money, how much it costs, what services do you give away, do you have, and so on. So
and then it was kind of that clicking moment, right, of realizing if I am not able to do what they just did, my code will never be used. I
And,
will
and
never
then
build something that people can use.
in this moment also you started to think about having a company, your own
Yeah,
company.
that was. I
Yeah, at
mean,
this moment.
in fact, that day I knew that I would never have a regular job. And the day that I lost brutally, with honestly, I thought that it was perfect. My code and my teams, we have made something amazing on that piece. It was a murder mystery game with hyper local businesses. It was awesome. We lost because everyone was so much better than us at selling it. At selling
Yeah,
it. And
yeah.
again, Americans are really good at that. And I remember we went back to class traumatized, and my mentor was an ex AT&T guy. He told me that's what happens with the Europeans that usually come here. That happens a lot. Your technical background is a lot of times better than other people that comes from the American system,
But you don't know how to sell
but you
yourself.
are terrible at selling it. And I changed my classes on the next semester
Wow.
because my master was. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna take all of the technical classes. And the next semester, I took negotiation, I took business, I took accounting. And it became, what was supposed to be a professional master, it became almost kind of a half of an MBA because
Yeah,
that's the beauty of the American system is that
yeah.
if you do the subjects that you need to do, you can pick and choose whatever you want on the side. So I started taking classes that had nothing to do with technology, and it changed me, right? In terms of that, because now I
They
was
do
doing both
something.
things.
They do something similar in Spain now that I really like. It is the double degree. So students do not only, I would say, a technological whatever stuff, computer science
Yeah.
or whatever, but they also do something related to business, maybe, or it can be a mix. But this is good because you're not only focused on, and I would say program very very nicely, but also on selling it or knowing that you're going to have an accounting or you're going to have all the stuff you need to be a company or at least to work thinking about business.
So true. So true.
Yeah. Very nice to know those histories. This is always we say the same. This is a conversation. We never had this conversation before, Victor.
I don't think so,
We
right? I mean, we never
no,
talked about this for sure.
we know a few questions
Yeah.
for precise.
By the way, my technical peer on that Chicago startup weekend. It's called. His name is Ramon Recuerdo. He's a very good friend. He also haven't had a normal job since. I mean, he's been. We had our first startup. We did it together. We failed miserably. Our second, we were helping each other. He was on another one. We both failed also on our second startup on that piece.
If you
The
didn't
third
fail,
one,
you don't have also
absolutely. That's
credibility
how
in
it
US.
works, right? The third is
You
magic,
need to
which has
have
been very
you
nice.
in US you need to have failed to
It's
have
very
success.
important. It's very
Here
important.
is not, you are not allowed to do that. This is something related also to the book we started the conversation about Elon Musk, the lift off book, because at some point Elon explains that he allows the engineers of SpaceX to fail. And this is not something bad seen, and he explains how the NASA National Aerospatial, I don't remember the name exactly, they never want something to fail, never, because they are the public administration, they have the publicity, they have the mass media, and they can't have a failing.
Yeah.
In SpaceX it's the contrary. You have to fail, you have to do things that go bad to learn and to do the things going well after.
Engineering works that way, and the thing is, people think that people there is this group of people, right? When you say fail often, fail early, right? Which is kind of a mantra of a startups and of technical.
But when you come back to Spain, Victor, and you know
No,
that
I mean,
you
people will
still
burn
can
you
say
alive to say that.
you still can say this in Spain. Nobody understands this.
No,
Nobody
and it's
understands
funny
this.
because people will tell you things like, I mean, yes, I understand that you want, if after a failure you want to learn about it, but it's better to learn with success. A lot of times, in my experience, is that success doesn't teach you much.
Of course.
Because when you succeed, you don't analyze it,
Yeah.
and sometimes you succeed by external factors. Sometimes you are just lucky, and you succeeded by luck. If you
Yeah.
fail, you fail because of something.
Miserably.
Exactly. I mean,
You fail
there is
miserably.
something that was missed on that. So there is always something to learn on failure, but success not always. I mean, yes, I have learned a lot of also of my successes, but some of my conclusions on analyzing my successes was, okay, so the results are in, and the results says that we were lucky. Period. And sometimes that's the only explanation for a success. For a failure, that never happened. For a failure, there is always, someone screw up. We did this wrong. You learn something for a failure. And such thing as bad luck exists too, but never comes alone. I mean, I'm a fan of that phrase in Spanish, right? Que la suerte te encuentre trabajando, luck should find you working, right? On that piece, and that's absolutely right. But if you work right, bad luck becomes less of a factor than good luck. If you are doing things right on that piece, and if you allow yourself to fail. And again, I do not enjoy failure. It's not about that. But when failure happens, because, and I'm sorry for my French, shit happens. When that happens, do your best to learn about that, because there is always a lesson to be learned, right, on that piece.
Okay, you have the control. I'm the one interviewing today, but you have the control. I think we are
more than good. I mean,
more than good
already
on
way
time.
Too patient.
So let's gonna say a little phrases to end. Two things from my side. I really enjoy doing that the GDE show with you, Victor.
Me too.
You're always a great team, and we will try to do something in the future. It will be a GDE show or whatever else. But
there will be a show. There will be a show. I don't know.
There will be a show.
But
that's nice.
Season 2 of the GDE show might be the GDE show or not, or something else. We don't know, right?
But remember, in the middle, just this Tuesday, we are starting the Google Summer of Code. So this means that the next 3 months you are not going to be so far ahead with me, because we have to meet suddenly.
I have to tell you, I already have a podcast summer project that I'm going to start in.
Wow! Explain the podcast.
I am not yet ready to announce it, but it's going to be a crypto world podcast in Spanish. We want to
with
teach about
Dogecoins.
We're going to mention it for sure. We're going to give our opinion on that at the very least. I don't know if people will like it, but we'll give our honest opinion about that at some point.
Very nice.
We'll be branching. Andreu, it's been a pleasure. Honestly, I have had so much fun. When you called me now a couple of months, almost 3 or 4 months back to do this, I was really excited. I think it's been an amazing experience, and I never need an excuse to work with you. Thank you very much for taking the time on all of these episodes. Thank you for everyone that have been watching both live and
to the GDEs that
have visited, which has been, again, some of my favorite people to meet or re-meet over this year, and we learned a lot of very nice stories. And again, we'll be back, right? Because we want to keep hearing those stories. So stay tuned, because after the summer and Google Summer of Code ends, we're gonna be back for sure with another season.
But to end, also we have to say that we have a meeting on next Tuesday, and it's this one. This is going to be the Google I/O week. Oh.
Yay! Which is very important. Yeah. I'm going to be tuning in Tuesday. I have a meeting at the same time, but I'm going to be recording you, and I'm going to be watching the keynote with your comments right after.
Everything is going to be also on streaming later on YouTube. You don't have the excuse to didn't see and expend hundreds, maybe hours of your lovely time to get some pretty new knowledge from Google technologies. So
of course,
it's been a pleasure. See you at some moment
my
in the
friend.
future.
And looking forward for Google Summer of Code. We need to do a recap at some point when we come back on the first episode of the second season. We do a recap of that.
Yeah.
Again,
perfect.
Thank you very much for tuning in on the GDE show. Andreu from Lleida, thank you.
Take care.
Karina,
Bye-bye.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.